Hello, my dear gentleman. You are in the golden age of your life. I know. At 65 years old, you already have everything. You have a solid and respectable career. You have spacious mansions to call home. You have deep, priceless life experiences. The kind of experiences that young men deeply envy. But here is a harsh reality you need to hear. Many of you still feel like complete failures. You feel like a failure right at the dinner table on a date. You sit across from a beautiful, young, vibrant woman, and then the conversation becomes as dry as old toast. She keeps glancing at her phone over and over again. Meanwhile, you are sweating bullets from sheer anxiety. You ask yourself, what on earth am I missing? Is it money? Is it status? What is it? But the truth is going to absolutely shock you. She is not walking away because you are old or broke. She is walking away for a completely different reason. You are talking to her like an interrogation machine, like a police officer questioning a criminal suspect. Today, I am standing here with a very special mission. I am going to guide you through this hidden secret. I will reveal to you the psychology of true attraction, something far more powerful than the thickness of your wallet, something far more powerful than your silver gray hair. It is the power of absolute, undivided presence, and the subtle art of asking the right questions. Do not miss a single second of this video, because this script is going to change your entire game. Hit the like button if you are ready to begin. Subscribe to the channel to truly master a woman's heart. Now, let us dive into the very first part. That is breaking out of the interrogation mode in your conversations. Stop being a detective on a case, gentlemen, please. Let us be a little honest with each other here. How do most of you actually talk to women? You talk to them like you are filling out a tax form. What do you do for a living? That is your first question. Which neighborhood of the city do you live in? How many brothers and sisters do you have at home? You think you are showing genuine interest in her, but in reality, you are interrogating her like a witness. In psychology, this is famously known as interrogation mode. The term in English is widely studied and very well known. It creates an atmosphere full of tension and pressure, a cold, sterile, and emotionless kind of space. So why does this approach completely kill all attraction? The reason is deeply scientific and very convincing. It forces her brain to operate at a purely logical level. She will respond with dry, factual, lifeless data points. And data, by itself, never creates real emotion. And without emotion, there can never be any love. Let me tell you about my dear friend John. John is 68 years old this year. John is a very successful lawyer based in New York City. His office sits proudly on Park Avenue in Manhattan. One evening, he went on a date with a woman named Maria, who was 28. Maria is a young, talented graphic designer. They had dinner at a sophisticated French restaurant. Throughout the entire dinner, John asked Maria everything imaginable. He asked about her college degrees and her education. He asked about the company she was currently working for. He asked about her salary and her job position. Maria answered politely, but it was painfully forced. Her eyes kept drifting toward the restaurant's front door. She only wished for the evening to be over quickly. John felt like he was failing miserably right there. And why was that, gentlemen? Do you know? Because John was looking at Maria like a human resources file. He was using the flawed I-it mode of thinking. This is a concept developed by the philosopher Martin Buber. In English, it is famously called the I-it relationship. He was categorizing, calculating, and measuring her every answer. She felt like she was being turned into an object to be evaluated, judged, and graded on a scale. Who would ever want to fall in love with someone who looks at them that way? So how do you know you are making this exact mistake? It is when she only responds using a single word. Yeah. Nope. It is fine. Pretty average. The conversation feels like a strange ping-pong match, but the ball keeps falling on the floor after every serve. If you constantly have to scramble for the next question, then I am sorry, my friend. You are deep in interrogation mode. That is a very clear sign that you need to change. Now, let us move on to the second part. That is the incredible power of open-ended questions. It is the master key that unlocks the door to the soul. Instead of asking to gather data, ask to open her heart. Psychology has proven one extremely important truth. People do not remember what you said to them. They only remember how you made them feel inside. This is the famous quote from Maya Angelou herself, one of the greatest writers in American history. The technique here is incredibly simple and effective. Shift away from closed questions and into open ones. Closed questions are the yes or no type. They slam shut every single one of her emotions. Open-ended questions, on the other hand, are entirely different. They force her to reconnect with a real lived experience. They invite her to share, to open up, to reveal herself. Let us go back to the story of John and Maria. What if John had simply changed his questions? Instead of asking, "Do you like to travel?" ask this question slowly and with genuine depth. What is the one place that makes you feel most like yourself? Can you all feel the massive difference there? Maria simply cannot answer that with a yes or no. She has to dig back through her own memories. She has to find a beautiful, meaningful feeling somewhere. She might start telling you about a beach in Greece, the place where she truly felt completely free, the place where she finally felt like her authentic self. As she tells the story, her eyes will start to light up. Her whole body will lean slightly toward you. And that is exactly the moment connection begins to form. Here in the United States, young women live in a fast-paced world. They race from early morning until late at night. They are exhausted by shallow social media interactions. Thousands of hollow text messages every single day. Thousands of swipes on countless dating applications. When you ask her one truly deep, meaningful question, you are giving her a precious, rare moment of stillness. You are sending her a very powerful message. I genuinely care about who you really are. I do not care about your data or your resume. Try asking the following questions on your next date. What has been bringing you the most joy lately? If money were no object, what would you actually be doing? What moment this week made you laugh the hardest? These are what psychologists call beautiful questions. They build instant intimacy in just a few moments. They open doors that you never even imagined existed. Now, let us move on to the third part. That is the power of the follow-up question. This is the highest art of active, engaged listening. Studies from Harvard University have clearly proven this, something that truly leaves all of us in amazement. People who ask more follow-up questions are much more well-liked. The technical term in English is follow-up questions. Why does this matter so much in real life? Because it demonstrates your responsiveness to her. The English word is responsiveness in communication. It proves that you are actually right there with her. You are fully present in that exact moment in time. You are not just waiting for your turn to brag. Older men very often make one critical mistake. They tell stories from their past far too much. They want to impress her with their old achievements, with that prestigious MBA from Harvard Business School, with that big game safari trip to Africa years ago, with the amount of money they made back in the day. But the truth is that women want something completely different. They prefer someone who cares about their own stories instead. The rule here is extremely simple and very clear. Ask at least 2 follow-up questions every single time. Let me give you a concrete example to picture this. She says, "I just recently started learning how to paint." Do not jump in and immediately say something like this. "Oh, I actually own a very expensive art collection at home. I have an original Picasso hanging in my living room, you know." That is what we call a shift response. The English term is shift response, and it is harmful. This is a form of subtle, hidden arrogance. You are stealing her spotlight right off the stage. Instead, use what is called a support response. The English term is support response, and it is much classier. Ask her, "What inspired you to pick up a paintbrush?" After she answers, follow up with another question. "How did it feel when you finished your very first painting?" When you do this, something truly magical happens. She will feel like she is the most important person in that entire crowded room. You are giving her a truly priceless gift. That gift is your complete and undivided attention. This model has a very beautiful name to it. It is called radical presence in modern psychology. The English term is radical presence, and it is profound. It requires you to drop all judgments completely. Drop every single one of your personal agendas. You immerse yourself entirely in her world. Do not just listen to the words she is saying. Listen to the emotions hidden underneath them too. Notice if she hesitates at certain points in the story. Notice if her voice rises with joy or drops with sadness. Notice if her hands move when she tells you a story. These are absolutely critical signals to pick up on. They help you reach her heart much faster than anyone else. Faster than any young guy out there could ever hope to. Now, let us move into a very important fourth part. That is the technique of emotional validation, creating a feeling of absolute safety for her. This is where you have a tremendous advantage. A huge advantage over those young men out there. The steady calmness that only a mature man possesses. The deep understanding that only true experience can bring. Young American women today are under tremendous pressure. Pressure regarding their careers and their personal image. Pressure from Instagram, from TikTok, from society itself. They desperately need a safe place to show their vulnerability. Psychology calls this technique emotional validation. The English term is emotional validation. Validation does not mean agreeing with everything she says. It means acknowledging that her experience is real and valid. Her experience is real and has genuine worth and meaning. Never ever say things like these to her. Oh, you are blowing this way out of proportion. That is nothing to actually get upset about. You women always make a huge deal out of nothing. That is what we call emotional invalidation. The English term is invalidation, and it is extremely toxic. Instead, use these almost magical phrases with her. That sounds like it was really difficult for you. I can really see how hard you have been working on this. It sounds like you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. Is that right? When you can accurately name her emotion for her, her pain instantly decreases by about half right away. She will feel that you are the only person who truly understands her, the only person who truly sees her for who she really is. Let me use a beautiful metaphor to help you visualize this. It is the metaphor of a wrapped-up gift box. When she shares a deep, hidden feeling with you, treat it like a beautifully wrapped gift box. A loser will just poke at it and then ignore it. They rush to pull out their own gifts to show off. But the truly attractive man behaves completely differently. He cherishes that gift box with both hands. He unties each ribbon slowly and with deep care. He explores the contents inside together with her. This deep understanding creates a powerful, lasting bond, an invisible thread that is incredibly strong and durable. It makes her want to lean on your shoulder every single time a storm hits her life. Now, prepare yourselves mentally, my dear gentlemen. This is the most important climax of the entire video, the harsh truth that I promised you at the very beginning. What do you all usually worry the most about? About those young guys with six-pack abs? About guys overflowing with energy and youthful vigor? You fear that you are not funny enough anymore. You fear that you are not trendy enough for them. You fear that you simply cannot keep up with them. But here is the plot twist you absolutely need to hear. Most young women today are completely exhausted by those exact same young guys you fear. Why on earth is that the case, do you know? Because those guys are too busy with themselves. They are too busy showing off their brand new Tesla. They flex their muscles at the gym every single day. They talk about themselves the entire evening long. They have no idea how to actually listen to anyone. They lack the patience needed for real understanding. They never ever bring her one critical thing. That thing is the feeling of being truly seen. So, where does your real attractiveness actually come from? Not from trying to act young and pretending to be hip. Not from dyeing your hair or dressing like a teenager. It comes from your ability to create a special space. A unique space of presence that is incredibly rare today. A space she simply cannot find anywhere else in her life. When you give her 100% of your attention, you are performing a truly luxurious act for her. In a world overflowing with phone notifications, in a world full of endless, draining distractions, a man looking deeply into her eyes with full focus and saying, "I am right here with you." That is an extraordinarily powerful act on its own. Your attractiveness is the gift of safety. Your attractiveness is the depth of your soul. Do not try to compete on raw physical strength. You will lose that race, gentlemen, I promise you that. Compete with the strength of soul to soul connection. That is a weapon no young guy could ever copy. That is the legacy of decades of real experience. Now, let us move on to our final conclusion. In summary, to become a magnet for true attraction, you must remember these 3 critical points. First, stop asking dry, lifeless, data-based questions. Ask questions that invite emotional storytelling instead. Instead of, what do you do for a living? Ask something else. What are you most proud of in your life right now? Second, use the rule of 2 follow-up questions. Always go 1 layer deeper before talking about yourself. Third, validate her emotions instead of giving advice. Be her companion on the journey, not her instructor. Now here is the homework assignment for you gentlemen. On your next date, apply the 70-30 rule. Spend 70% of the time listening and asking questions. Only talk about yourself for the remaining 30%. And while listening, place your phone face down on the table. Do not check text messages or work emails during this time. Look at her as a mysterious thou full of wonder. Thou, in English, means you, in a deeply respectful way. She is a mystery to be discovered slowly over time, not an it to be used for passing entertainment. This small change will produce truly massive results. Results so big you cannot even imagine them yet. Now, I would like to hear your honest opinions, gentlemen. What is the hardest part about talking to a younger woman? Is it the gap in knowledge and cultural references? Or is it the fear of being judged for your age? Please leave a comment down below this video. I will personally answer each and every one of you. Do not forget to hit the like button if this video helped. If it has given you much more confidence in yourself, share it with your friends from the same generation, those friends who need to rebuild their inner strength. And most importantly of all, please subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on the next psychological secrets. I will continue to share many more valuable insights. See you again, gentlemen, in the very next video. See you again at the peak of true attractiveness. Warm regards, and I wish you all great success.